Welcome, everyone. Hi. Hi, Linda.
Hi,
Linda
Annie.
and Arlene. So we're continuing on our energy episodes. So this is week 2, our second one, and this topic is on emotional energy. Woohoo! Our emotions. Yeah, emotional energy. Well, you don't want to be around females when they're premenstrual or
Did you
menopausal.
have a hard time with that? Did you have a hard time
I
every
used
time
to
it was
have
coming up?
I had horrible PMS, horrible.
Me
And
too.
I knew it, and I would turn like, I'd be like the vampire.
Excuse me, is that your heart? Oh, I turned into the demon from hell.
Well, even women that are going through the change with menopause, right? And there's been cases where, and I'm sure you're aware of this also, right? Where they've killed their husbands and they've,
No.
don't you remember that from years ago? Many years ago, and they would go on the stand and they got off. They let them go because it was a mental physiological thing that happened.
Doggone it, I don't have the equipment anymore. Otherwise I could get away. But listen, I had a total hyster, okay? Total everything. Because I had those fibroids in my uterus and I was bleeding like a stuck pig and I was anemic 24/7. When they took everything out, I never went through the change. I never had a hot flash, nothing.
I never went on the hormonal stuff. I never did
They
that.
never put me, they wouldn't, because I
through it.
have a heart disease and the estrogen's not good if you have heart.
So let's get into the emotional is the quality of our energy, what type of energy we have. It is the feeling, sensation, and physiological reaction that makes specific emotions positive or negative. Feeling is what you label as anger, sadness, joy, or fear. It is then your interpretations or thoughts about emotional energy that give it meaning. And our well-being is directly impacted by how we feel. What is going on in our lives, our work, our relationships, ourselves, our general situations. And drains on our emotional energy is stress. See, stress is you're gonna hear stress thread through all of these different energy bodies that we carry.
Right.
Stress and anxiety, long periods of constant life stress, whether personal, home, or work. Right? So we could all relate to this as if you're working. I mean, I don't know if you know people, and I know people that they have to continually be working. I mean, they don't
Oh,
know.
I know.
They don't know how to relax.
They just don't know. They
And
don't
this
want to
is, see,
retire.
this again, we're talking about balance. So if
Yeah.
you're working constantly, right, for the greater good or whatever you need to, for the finances, whatever, universe will stop you in your tracks. If you don't know how to recharge your batteries, right, Linda, and
Yeah.
take care, you'll break down. You can break down in all different ways: the physical, the mental,
Right.
the emotional. So you really need to take time for self-care, get your proper sleep. I know it's easier said than done to de-stress. You talked about this a lot. You were going through a period right now, what you're watching, what you said, the Three Stooges.
Oh, I watched Laurel and Hardy, the Three Stooges, The Love Boat, just to keep my mind on neutral.
So there's things to bring this back into balance. But getting back to, there's people, and I know couples I've been away with, where the man or the female, they don't know how to relax. They don't know how to turn it off. And that's dangerous. I say it's like being in a car and keeping your foot on the gas pedal and never releasing the gas. That's the anxiety that comes in.
Breathe and be present as much as you can, because the one thing that's so important is your connection within yourself and the realm. And if you're in constant fight or flight, it will create something bad to happen, because you're not creating well-being. What you're doing is creating, obsession and all that. So then it brings you back into place. The same thing happened to me when I was in a horrible marriage and I was so unhappy. And I was asking them, or the higher realm, please, what can I do? And then things started turning even worse. I'm like, wait a second, I didn't sign up for this. I was like quite confused. And now I realize it's because they were trying to switch it. They were trying to bring me to the realm I needed to be in, which included the cancer. So I bless the cancer because the cancer catapulted me back to where I am now, which I've never been happier. Sure, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that brings us heartache. But we as a nation, as a human being, as a race, if we don't stick and stand in that positivity, because we all have our vices. We do, hello, chocolate, hello. We all can have.
That's another episode, addictions.
But addiction is overworking. You
Oh,
can
yeah,
get
there's
so
all
caught
different-
up in working. I've seen it
Oh, no,
happen
there's
left
all-
and
yeah.
right. And when you go to the other side, I'm a medium and I see people on the other side. I see people saying, why was I so over focused? And like the daughter might be asking about dad, and he'll say, I'm so sorry, because his focus was working, not of sitting down and relaxing and being with his child. They're very regretful about that.
They say when emotional energy is blocked, we don't have a healthy relationship with our families.
Exactly.
Right? That's what we're talking. Yeah.
And may I say something else? It also makes you tired. And you were talking about taking care of your body. And if you're tired all the time, energetic, you're not putting out the well-being. You're putting out, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I just need to get through this.
That's a good point we're segueing into. There are days I remember in the past where I worked and I didn't have a very stressful, hard day. It was kind of actually an easy day. But I came home and I was like, oh my dear God, I'm so tired.
You
And
did?
then there were days that I was physically, constant 24/7, very busy. And I would come home and I'd be charged, like I was upbeat and I had a lot more to go. That's where you have to be aware of where it is. And there's things that are called energy vampires. So again, be aware of who you come in contact with and
how you feel when you're around certain people.
Because we're batteries, people could drain your energy if you allow them to. If you realize they're doing it, you could put a block and block that. And there's a story. I was with somebody at lunch and I actually felt them. I could feel the energy being pulled. They were looking in my eyes. Our eyes are the windows to the soul. And it was like they were, come here, pulling the energy. And very interesting. You have to be aware of that. But you could stop it. And I share with people, when we go to bed at night, if we're sharing our bed with somebody, be it a spouse, a partner, even if you're away with girlfriends and you're in the same room or the bed area at night, and I've told my husband this, I put an energy wave that I don't plug into his energy as I'm sleeping, or he doesn't plug into mine. Because there's a lot of times, right, you wake up and you've slept and yet you feel exhausted because your battery's been drained. And there's people that will drain other people's battery. They suck it. They suck your energy out.
Sometimes they're not even aware. That's why we can't judge them and say, oh my God, that person is a psych. You almost, they just sort of unconsciously, maybe their parents raised them that way. But I worked as a nurse in a high stress indigent patient county facility in the ER. And people are in need at that time, and people want a piece of you. People need help, and you're giving and and a lot of them will drain you. They just want so much. And boy, let me tell you, when you come home, you're exhausted.
You have to be aware of that. I mean, we touched on this before. I'm certifiable. No, but I'm certified in a lot of different healing modalities. And there again, I mean, there's so many different ones out there, like Reiki. I do therapeutic touch. There's called the reconnect. There's a lot of different ones. And I always say it's, again, the energy wave. It could be shorter or longer.
Right. Well, if I knew what I knew now, I would have probably I didn't know those things then. I probably would have had a Reiki thing, and I probably would have learned from some professional how you can keep yourself protected.
You have to and also be aware of who you're working with. If someone's out there and they say, I'm a healer and I'm going to heal you, run away. Because we're all healers. If we come from this space, the heart space, and we give, as being in a medical field that you were in and I was in, we wanted to help people, right? So we gave from the heart. But if somebody says, I'm going to do this because we're all conduits, and the conduit is, and this goes back to the plugging in. We plug into, I say, source.
Exactly.
You talk the realm, people may not know what the term is or whatever. And we're talking, all of this is outside of us here in another dimension, because we're all from another dimension. We're only here temporarily. We're actually spirit in this shell that we call the body, right? Exactly. So we just have to be aware of who and what we're working with, but as I said, we're all gifted, we're all healers. And the thing is, do things without expectation and do it from the heart and love. And it goes back to, I said, for all of this, and that's what this platform is about, as far as lifting each other up for the best that we could possibly be. Yeah, be aware of that, of where our energy and our emotional energy is for this particular one that we're talking about. So the number one emotional drain is stress. It runs through all of it. Oh, this is interesting that I found. Emotional vampires, specific traits. There's specific traits on people that have our emotional, what we call emotional vampires. And the first one's an excessiveness for validation and attention from others. So somebody that craves validation all the time and attention from others. This brings me back to an ex. Anyways, and this is another form of how you can use energy. I remember this person would be like, the sky is green. And I would say, no, the sky is blue. And the person, no, the sky is green. And they would keep, beating, and I, kind of allowed it.
Exactly.
Until I broke down and said, okay, the sky is green. And and my thoughts are going, are you kidding me? You da 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 da. Well, a way you could change that, believe it or not, and I experimented with it. And this happened, we were in a car, it wasn't about the sky, but it was about something else. And I sat there and I quieted myself. And I said, I talked, as you say, the realm. I talked to my higher self and said, please talk to the person's higher self. So my higher self talked to the other one's higher self and have them realize where we're coming from, right? And open their eyes to something else. And then I let it go, okay? I sent it away and I said, it's in your hands now. Well, guess what? Within a couple of minutes, I got a response and it totally changed from the person saying, oh yeah, well, and I went, oh, so it does work. It does work. You just have to be aware of it. Sometimes we don't have to do the constant talking. We just hit it at a different energetic level. Another place.
Right. And what you're saying about people that are needy, that's all ego. We all born with ego, but ego can get in our way. We're so desperate to fill it.
These are people that know what they're doing, and they're energy vampires that do this to draw the energy away from other people to fill themselves, to fill that void. The second thing is the belief that little to nothing that occurs in their life is their fault. They're never at fault. How many people do you know? I know people that they would never say they're sorry and they're not at fault. It's everybody else's problem, and everybody else well, we know somebody right now, I'm not going to go there, but out in the public eye, that nothing's their fault, right? And the third one is a lack of self-awareness to recognize their self-defeating patterns. They're not even aware. They just continue on and do that. And the things that we do to recharge our emotions: make a list of your accomplishments, let go of the past mistakes, do something fun, right? How much time do we take out to have fun?
Well, can I tell you something? Some people just don't ever have joy, and I'm sorry to say that. Some people don't even know what joy is. Their life could have been pretty bad. But it's not for us to judge others, but I will tell you that joy can be different. I've never really knew what joy was until I got out of my own way. And then all of a sudden I can feel this happiness for no reason at all. So fun, I mean, I read people. I have clients that don't even have girlfriends or guy friends. They're just sort of isolated. But that's their conscious choice. So you've got to tell them, look, there's a whole world out there. There's somebody for everybody.
They don't know how to get out of their own way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say all the
Right?
time.
Now look at what you went through with your medical and all of that. But you didn't go, oh, woe is me. And oh, you know how many people would curl up and just go in a room and just complain and say, this is happening to me this is happening to me all the time. We are energy. The energy is vibrational. And what you put out there is what comes back to you.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people call karma. But what you're vibrating in that. So whatever we desire in our lives, be it, say, a relationship or whatever, if you want that, like you said, you have to be in good relationship and a good place for yourself.
And what you're living, who you are right now is what you're thinking. You're
Right.
creating whatever it is that
whatever we have in our lives, whatever we're going through, yeah, we created it.
Yeah.
People who don't want to hear that, but we've created whatever it is. So if you want to change it, that saying, like we always say at the end, be the change you want to see, be that change. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the other thing to recharge emotionally is take a break from people that bring you down. How many people that, I mean, friendships to me are very, very important. I don't take them lightly. When I grew up, I was sick. When I was born, I was leaving this earth. I came in and I was checking out right away. So my mother kept me like captive in the house. Like I couldn't go out. I, didn't have kids to play with, never swam, never skated, never, did anything of those things. So
yeah.
So friendships to me were very, very important. But the past couple of years, I let go of some friendships.
Oh yeah, well, and it's not necessarily to say they were no good or you're better or anything. It's just you just felt you guys went different directions.
It's just like being in partnership, right? You grow apart many times. It's not that it's
Yeah.
good, but you just grow in separate ways, correct?
Yes. Yes.
The other thing is spend time with close friends and family and have fun. And another one is, and this is to recharge emotionally, meditate or pray. Just be, like you said before, be quiet. When we're quiet, we start to hear and we bring in, as you say, the other realm.
It's hard too if you're not used to that. It's hard to train yourself to just be present.
There's different, I'll bring it, our last episode, I have it on there as far as meditating, because I have my different thought. When I started meditating, I'd fall asleep.
Me too. I had a hard time meditating.
A lot of times we think we have to do it a certain way. Yeah. But it doesn't, there's no book. Yeah, there are books out there to do it. But I mean, it's not all the same for everybody. It's just going out and looking at the sky and seeing a cloud go by or whatever.
Oh, yes. I even would fall asleep when I listened to Eckhart Tolle, who I love. Initially, I couldn't listen to him until my awakening happened. Then I heard him and I heard him loud and clear. But initially, I would go to sleep.
Well, it was his voice.
Well, especially in the beginning, he would talk real slow.
7th is avoid multitasking. That'll drain you. If you want to recharge your emotions, don't multitask. I think women, we're big multitaskers, right?
I'm telling you, you have to do it if you got little ones.
Mm-hmm. The other one is take a break from technology, right? They tell you shouldn't sleep in your bedroom with electronics. I went away with a couple of women once, right? And they had to have the TV on, and I'm like, oh my God.
I have to have the TV on because when I was working night shift.
Are you one of the ones with the TV on? Oh my God, we couldn't sleep together.
I always had the TV on because it put me to sleep when I came home from working a 16-hour shift in the daytime. I missed a lot of those shows, MASH and all that. I never saw them because I was working evenings to mornings or evening shifts.
That's charging you. That electricity is going through. But anyways, I remember being in the room with them and they said, well, we'll put the volume, we'll turn the volume down. But you still have that light flashing, it would change. So I guess you could wear eye mask. But I would get up, so I got up like around 2 o'clock in the morning, go to the bathroom. They were sleeping. So I said, okay, so I turned it off. Do you know they got up and they turned it back on? So anyways, let's see. Another one is do something artsy and then write in a journal. I don't know if everybody does journaling, but that's really good.
Yeah.
So what else would you like to add?
Well, the psychic vampires, you can tell, give me the signs and symptoms. I think you'll notice, and you might not even know they're vampires, but you'll notice you get really exhausted. Or have you ever met somebody that you just didn't like and you have no clue why? I've had that happen.
This is going to be that's going to be an episode down the road. Because you know what I think that's from? I believe.
What?
Well, I firmly believe in reincarnation. So I think it's
that could be
I
it.
think
But
it's
there's
people
also
that,
psychic vampires that you go.
yeah, but I think it's people that we've gone around the block with before, because I've had that where you meet somebody, yeah, like you said, you go like this. It's like, I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I'm like, how could I be that way? How could I judge that? I don't even know the person. I don't know their name. And I'm like,
Yeah.
their energy is just like, stay away from me. And then there's other people that I'm like, oh, I just want to
You
hug
just
them.
want to love them.
I just want to hug them immediately. And I'm like, well, how could that be? I don't know them. What else would you like to mention on the topic about our emotions?
Well, if you're filled with a lot of emotion and you seem to be overwhelmed all the time and feeling depressed, stop, be quiet, be in meditative state and ask for help. Tell them, why is this going on? Because like I said, that depression or emotional stuff is energy. And the more you think that you're stuck in this energy, the more attention you give it, the more you create it. So, and a lot of people I talk to, it's always remembering how daddy treated them bad and all this. You got to just let that stuff go, forgive and forget and move forward. Well, you won't be able to forget, but you can forgive and move forward.
It's very true. But we hold on to it. And people, I say it's like playing a record. They keep going round and round and round. And I know so many people that take workshops to go through let going of things and healing, and yet they don't. They take it right back. The strongest emotion that we have is love. The very first time that I wrote to the angels, or took a workshop, and it said we had to write down whatever came to us. And the message that came right to me was the key to unlock all the mysteries and all the doors and whatever we have in life is love. And that has run through my life for all these years. It's always about love. Love is
always at the end of the day.
Love is the key. It's getting out of here, getting out of our mind. Oh, that's the next place we're going, is mental energy. But getting out of the mind and dropping it into our heart.
But when I had my encounter on the other side, and when I met Jesus of Nazareth, I will tell you, vibrationally, it was only love. It is the best. I can understand why people say, I don't want to come back. It was such a profoundness, and this humming. I thought it was like angels humming, but they say vibrationally over there, especially if you come over still semi-human form, it's like a buzz, but a high kind of a glorious, like a bunch of glorious sound at one note. And in Life and Teachings of Masters of the Far East, they talk about that, because there's high masters.
Did you read that book, the series?
The series, yes, I have it. So they talk about that going over there. And when, the masters could just dissipate and go over there. When you go over there, there's a high sound. There's a sound and there's a beauty beyond beauty. That's what I saw. I didn't get to stay there long, but it was beautiful.
Well, they say, and you confirm this, they say the colors, you can't describe the colors.
It's profound.
The all-knowingness and the love, the peace and the love is, you can't. And that'll be another episode coming.
And I was waiting for you to say that.
We're going to talk about near death coming. So you guys have to listen and see what's going to be happening. All good things.
All good things, you guys.
Yeah, this is going to be great. There's going to be a lot of great topics. And as listeners, we want you to, I'm going to go down here to subscribe, write in, tell us your thoughts, but we only want to hear good things. And anything for the future you'd like us to talk about and bring guest speakers in on, correct? Okay, so to end this episode, it's about how do we balance, because it's all about balancing again. So how do we balance emotionally? with being in touch with your feelings. See where you're at, check in, beginning of the day, end of the day, see where you're at.
And keep a journal, like she said, keep a journal.
Be aware of things that are draining for you. Ask yourself, do I feel empowered or am I lacking? Where's your energy? Where's your tank, your fuel tank, say like in the car? Is it filled up to the top? Are you halfway or is it really low? Where's that barometer going? Check in with yourself during the day. How are you feeling? You owe it to yourself to be the best. We, all of us deserve the best in life, right?
Amen.
Yes. And the biggest thing is love. And it's starting right here with yourself.
Right here, right now.
You deserve love. We all.
And a lot of people,
and it's
especially
all there.
me, back in the day, we have a hard time with that. It's
Well, a lot
interesting.
of us don't know what it is.
Right. Because
yeah,
we were judged as children. We
it's
were
not
told
knocking. It's
we're
not.
only this good because if you don't do this right, it was all conditional.
Yeah. Yeah. And we grew up in the generation was you were spoken to, do not speak.
Exactly, girlfriend.
We had no voice. We had no.
And I was beaten. We were beat. And that's how they raised you in them days.
My mother used to give me a quarter. She goes, if your father leaves you wherever we were going on little runs, she said, here's a quarter for the bus. And we were little kids. And you're going, okay. And I talk to my cousins and we laugh about it. We say, oh my God, if our parents were here now and we were growing up, man, DCF we'd be gone. They'd take us out.
Molly Shannon, who I met Wednesday at her big opening for her book, had the funniest story. Her dad used to tell her and her little girlfriend who dressed up in their little ballerina outfits, you girls need to just hop on a plane and go somewhere, San Francisco, New York, just go do it. Just do it. So one day they were in their ballerina outfits, and those were the days they didn't ask you, or you didn't have to check in like you do now. And her little girlfriend said, oh, my auntie's on the plane. Can we go say goodbye? And the stewardess said yes. And they got in the back and they sort of went down and zoom. They were off. They went to New York. They went to Radio City Hall and called their dad and said, we're at Radio City Hall. And he was like, what? You need to come back. And they didn't have a easy time coming back. In fact, you would think the police would have taken them.
How old was she?
They were 8 and 10 or something like that.
Oh my God.
So she said then he had to break down and buy them tickets to go back. But they were kids.
8 and 10. That's a great
And they
story.
got away with it.
How old? Do you know how old is she?
I think she's
not that
old. 58? No, she's 50 something.
You have your phone, Google, and say,
yeah, let me.
Molly Shannon.
But she just did a book, Molly Shannon. She's 59 years old. Oh, wow.
59?
Yeah, I'm going to use her bit when I go. I'm doing an event this week in Utah. I'm going to say, I'm Linda Grundle and I'm 70 and I can kick and I can stretch and I can kick. I love that routine.
Oh, could you? Could you kick and stretch?
Oh, girl, I was pretending like I was doing it for my thing. I could back in the day, I could put my knee up my ear, but not anymore.
No.
She is hysterical, especially that sister Mary Catherine, whatever. The other thing that can really hurt you inside your legs is horseback riding. If you haven't horseback, when I was younger, I could horseback. And later one day I think we went on elephants at some zoo thing with my youngest. And I couldn't walk for 2 days. I was in so much pain.
Yeah, that's what you call it, honey.
Yeah, that's what I call it. That's my story and I'm sticking with it.
That's your elephant ride. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's what she's calling. Okay. All right, folks.
So, okay. Remember to be the change you want to see.
And from our hearts to your hearts, always balance, joy, and love. And I always say inner peace, which is that Because if you're living in inner peace, guess what? You have it all, and you're in balance,
Exactly.
and you have it all.
But like you say, the balance is is so important.
So here we go.
Homeostasis is another word that the body uses. In order to have a good functioning body, you have to be in homeostasis. The yin yang have to be together. So try to keep the balance.
I love you guys.
Love you.
Remember, subscribe and listen and see us right in.
Cheers.
Bye, honey. Love you. Tune in for the next episode. It's going to be mental.
Tune in.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.